Senator John McCain, the capable, dedicated American, and Senator Barack Obama. And the American people, a lot of folks said they would go into the booth and they would not vote for that black man. It would not happen. Around the world, people were suspicious if America was ready for this kind of change. Would we really do it? And it happened. We did it. None of us will forget Election Eve, November 4th. I was not in the United States. I was in Hong Kong, China. And so I was 12 hours out of sync with what was happening back here in America. And it was early morning in Hong Kong when I got up to watch what was happening back here late the night before. And as I was getting ready to give a speech to a group of Chinese officials and business leaders, I was channel surfing to see what was going on in the election returns. And slowly the returns started to come in from New Hampshire and then the rest of New England, and it started down the mid-Atlantic states. I was on the phone with my wife and my son and daughter-in-law in Fairfax, Virginia, and I was texting. Yes, I can text. I was texting with one of my daughters in New York, and we were all connected, Hong Kong to Fairfax, Virginia to New York, watching this unfold. I remember in 2000, it took 5 weeks before we knew who was elected. In 2004, it took most of the evening. And so as I got ready to leave my room and go down, I turned to look at the television set one more time. And Charlie Gibson of ABC came on. And he said, "We have one more result we can confirm. Barack Obama is the next president of the United States." I had to sit down. I couldn't accept it right away. I worked for it, I supported him. I love my friend John McCain, but I decided to support Mr. Obama, and so I thought this is what would happen. But when it actually happened, it hit me like an electric shock. And I had to sit down. And the first words that came to me after I collected myself was, "By God, we did it. By God, we did it." Despite all of the people who wondered whether America had reached this point in our political and social development to elect an African American as President of the United States, by God, we had done it.
So, I mean, why should they be in the tropics when they can, anyway. So President Bush says to him, if you have any chance, you should get away and just relax a little bit and don't work through the whole transition. And President-elect Obama is kind of not wired that way. I think he sees maybe some challenges on the horizon, and maybe he ought to get to work on them. And I think Bush could tell he wasn't making any progress. So he said, "Look, I'm still the president, and I'll take care of all the logistics. I'll set it up." I say, it's good for the soul. Get outside, get away from all this hard work. He said, "I tell you what, I'll get you on a quail hunt with Dick Cheney." That's not the kind of thing that most people would do for their successor who had been so rough on him in the campaign. Barack Obama won the presidency 9 weeks ago, with 52.6% of the vote. Popular vote, 52.6. That's awfully good. That's a mandate that's impressive. After 9 weeks of transition, he now has the support and approval of 82% of his countrymen and women. That's astonishing. That is really impressive. Here's why that's important. Here's why that's so impressive. Right? Think about it. Do the math. 52%, almost 53, voted for Barack. He's now at 82. That means if today there were an election and the only people eligible to vote were people who in November voted for John McCain, Barack Obama would still win. Isn't that amazing? This doesn't happen very often in America. It really doesn't. But it does suggest that at least for a brief window of time, we'll have a bit of a honeymoon. The question will be how long, and that's kind of what I want to talk about, particularly for your age cohort. Though this was going to be a Democratic year, people were not particularly happy with President Bush, and yet something very different happened here with Barack Obama. And it happened most importantly among your age cohort, and that's what I want to talk about. When George Bush ran against Al Gore in 2000, Al Gore won the 18 to 29-year-old vote by 1 point. 4 years later, John Kerry ran against Bush, and Kerry won the youth vote by 14. A huge gap opened up. Now, maybe it's because John Kerry is frequently mistaken for Jay-Z. You know, really, very young, hip, he's totally cool. Oh, he is. He's the hip-hop senator, is what they call him on the Hill. Okay, but maybe not. Right, maybe he's not Will.i.am. Maybe he's just kind of a stiff from Massachusetts. But he got a 14-point win among your age cohort. That's pretty doggone good in my business. You know what Barack Obama did among young people, right? He won your age cohort by 35%. That's spectacular. That is remarkable. And a lot of it is, as I think you saw with John Kerry, a lot of it's President Bush.
History's on a roll. And so, you go forward. You stop and you think that what you saw, what you observed, and all of this stuff, you have, right now, you think, this is the biggest thing ever. This is, if we have a way of doing this, is one time Dwayne Thomas, who was a running back in NASCAR in the 70s, says, if the Super Bowl is the ultimate game, how come they play it again next year?
Millions of Americans are losing their jobs and their homes. They're worried about how they'll afford college for their kids or pay the stack of bills on their kitchen table. Most of all, they are anxious and uncertain about the future.